an NIL deal worth over six figures for painting his nails, and he gets free nail polish or nail right nail painting. What do you call it? I'm so lost on that. I'm sorry. I'm not. I've got my nails painted before, but I don't know exactly to call it. So I apologize. That's me with with my guy brain. But I hate this idea that a guy cannot express himself in one way or another, and this is the way that people are going to act because he doesn't act like a typical alpha male or whatever you want to like. Listen. I don't care if the guy wants to wear a dress. I don't care if the guy wants to do it. As long as he can throw a football really well, I think that's all that should really matter. If his athletic talent is there, if he does his job, what does it matter what he does, what he likes, who he likes? None of that should matter. And let that be a lesson for everybody out there in work life. If you have a company, who cares what somebody's lifestyle is or what they do? They do their job, right? They make your company money. What does it matter? I fail to see where people's argument comes from that this is a guy who has some sort of he's like a diva basket case. Has he punched anybody? Has he drove his car into a wall? Has he hit a woman? Has he shot anybody? Has he done any drugs? Has he been arrested at all? No. He's been a model citizen. So I'm failing to see where this guy is some sort of criminal, like in the eyes of individuals, and going to be a failure as a quarterback. I don't know. I can't see it. I really can't. But if Caleb Williams is the answer for the Bears, man, he's walking into a great situation, I got to say, because the Bears, they have done themselves a lot of justice. They have really done some great stuff, and this is proving why Ryan Poles is such a great general manager. Ryan Poles has gone out, and he has gotten all these different players. You have wide receiver Keenan Allen traded for a fourth-round pick. You've got the signing of DeAndre Swift. You've got the talent signing of Gerald Everett. You've got offensive lineman Coleman, who's a center, and Brian Bates, who's another interior offensive lineman. You have all these different moves that have come from the Bears now. Kevin Byard's another one. The Bears are making moves left and right to be a talented team, to be one of those teams that has success. And we now sit here and we're looking at it and we're saying to ourselves, man, this is impressive. This is something that we have not seen before. This is unprecedented football that we have seen from them before. They have never made moves like this. And this is where, my questions for Ryan Poles, I think now change to, this is a guy who knows what he's doing. He comes from Kansas City. They're a winner. He knows exactly how to build a team. He's been a part of it. He knows how to find talent. He found that for Kansas City. He's finding it for Chicago. I think he's done a great job. And I think the Bears are now setting themselves up for a level of success that perhaps expectations should still be tempered. Right? They should still probably be tempered. But I will say this. What we're seeing right now from Chicago, what we're seeing from the Bears at this point in time, I think it's really impressive. I think it's really tremendous work that they have put together. Like, this is a football team that in the past they have made very minimal moves, or they've made big moves, but these big moves that have not really made a lot of sense, nor have they worked out in the past, right? They've had like the Julius Peppers thing, the trade for Jay Cutler. They've done all this stuff. But the Bears are actually building something that feels like success is at hand, right? They've got these two talented wide receivers, a running back group that looks very talented, tight ends that can catch the ball because they still have Cole Kmet. The offensive line has been decent. And now they have a chance to maybe take what many are projecting to be a generational quarterback, right? And I would dare not to say that Caleb Williams is Patrick Mahomes. I would actually go as far to say that I think Caleb Williams is, well, dare I say it, I think Caleb Williams is maybe closer to Joe Burrow or Aaron Rodgers. Two guys who I think are very talented. One's a legend. One is, I think, can be a legend, right? Both have a little bit of arrogance and ego and cockiness to them. One is a little bit more presumptuous than the other, right? But One's going to probably be a top 5 all-time quarterback in Aaron Rodgers. The other one could potentially be one. He just has to have a long career and be able to stay healthy. But I think Caleb Williams, with this team, there's a lot of success that can be had. And let's not say that the Bears are not going to try and continue to build on that success. Now, they got a couple of draft picks that they're going to be able to use. The number 1, which is probably going to be a quarterback, and then they got the 9th pick. And they could possibly use that to go and get more draft picks if they decide to do so. It's clear Ryan Poles knows what he's doing, and the Bears are going in the right direction from my standpoint. Obviously, there's a lot of fans out there that are not really sure of said situation. So we'll see exactly where that goes forward from here. I'm not going to jump too far on this thing, of course. But listen, for the Bears going forward, obviously, what's the future look like for them, right? What's the prediction that we can make for Chicago? What's the outlook that we're looking like for Chicago right now as we sit here and we talk about this team? Because, listen, there's opportunity. There's a golden opportunity here for a lot of people to say, oh, they're going to make the playoffs, and they could even be potential challengers for the division, and they could win games, and they can do all this stuff. I don't want to get your hopes up, people. I really don't. Because my fear is that a lot of people are going to jump into that, and they are going to overwhelmingly be enveloped in this idea of being successors. Now, I will say that I think they're rising, right? They are moving up the ladder of success, if you will, right? They are becoming a better team. They're looking better. Their expectations are going through the roof. But I would still tell people to temper said expectations. Like, my prediction is I think they're going to have the same record than they had this past season of 7-10. I don't think they're necessarily going to have a winning record, but the expectation is you've improved so much, and if this is the golden boy anointed to be quarterback, then you should be more successful. I would tell people to kind of push the brakes on that a little bit. Don't jump into that just yet. Understand that this is a process. And the process is quarterback still has to learn. This is a new system, a new coach, a new everything for them, right? So I would hearken to everybody to please just wait, be calm, be cautious, because it's coming. It just may take a while. It may take a hot moment for the Bears to be on that elite level, right? To all Bears fans out there, I would say patience is a virtue, right? Allow the quarterback to develop. Believe in this quarterback regardless of what his background is. Who cares? That guy throws a ball 60 yards down the field, you're going to be happy either way. Which is why I'm one of those fans now who's kind of like, I'm not really associated with a team, and you may say that's really dumb, you're a bandwagon, blah, blah, blah. It's one of the reasons why sports to me sometimes becomes a headache because I love sports with all my heart and soul. But, man, you guys get very obsessive about certain people and players when they're on your team. And yet when they leave, they become the enemy. And you burn your jerseys. You spend $200 on those stupid things, and you put them in fire. The hell's wrong with you? People, man, I don't understand it. I will never understand it. But for the Bears, I would just say keep the expectations to a minimum so that this way you don't end up too disappointed. Allow success to breed from what we have seen thus far. Every milestone that we see Caleb Williams make and every milestone we see this team make as far as offensively is a step in the right direction. It's just you're going to look for them to be the franchise that can potentially win a Super Bowl, and that's just not going to happen. Not right now, at least. Down the line, it's possible. But I would just tell you to just please simply be patient. Be as patient as you can. And that's going to do it for this Bears segment here, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, let us know what you guys think about the Bears. What do you think about the moves they've made? I know we've been away for a while, but I want to hear from you guys. The draft, again, April 25th. We're going to be live, Rosemont, Illinois. Dave and Buster's, come join us. We're going to be talking about the Bears and their draft position all month long, along with the rest of these teams. We are doing an analysis on Blow the Whistle, so be on the lookout for that. That's Blow the Whistle on the radio site, twitch.tv/SportsTownShy every Monday. Well, not today. And every Wednesday, be on the lookout for that, guys. When we do come back, though, ladies and gentlemen, from our break, we got baseball news we got to talk about. Baseball has officially started, but there is a major scandal that is rocking the world that is also probably going to affect the gambling world as well. We're going to be talking about that next here on the X-Bomb Sports Live Show.
The Chicagoland area has a large number of lonely dogs currently filling shelter pens, just waiting to find a family. Nothing adds warmth to a home like a wagging tail and a warm pair of brown eyes. If you are considering adding a dog to your household, visit the Anderson Animal Shelter, where adoption counselors can assist you in selecting your new best friend. Make your house a home. Adopt a shelter dog. To see a current list of adoptees, visit their website at www.andersonanimalshelter.org or meet them in person at 1000 South LaFox Street in South Elgin. Don't have room in the home for a new furry family member? Donations of toys, collars, and soft or hard non-perishable dog food are always accepted and are greatly appreciated. All animals are spayed or neutered and are waiting with tails wagging to find a loving home. Visit 1000 South LaFox Street in South Elgin or www.andersonanimalshelter.org for more details.
Hey, watch your mouth.
Time on the bottom, it should
Why?
be
I'll just put a quarter in the swear jar. Once it's filled, we get a quarter party after work. I've been drinking quarters since my college days. Cold draft taste is second to none. Yeah, worth the recorder, am I right?
Because it'll play through this commercial and then a video will play out.
Get those sports done? Yeah. No. You, sir. Attention, employees.
The staff meeting, scheduled for this evening, will now be held tomorrow early as
That is all.
I want to know something. I had somebody who didn't input me for an entire second.
Dude, you're only 75 cents short. Oh.
I'll have to play it back
Why?
to listen. If they didn't, it's okay.
Hey, sir, go yourself.
It's not the end of the world. It's happened before.
Fine.
But yeah, I'm a loving boss. I'm a caring and loving boss, so I'm not so I can't really argue. I could if I would. I would if I could, though. I would if I could. Six figures. I would. Yeah. And welcome back, everybody, here to the X-Bomb Sports Live Show. Apologies if we had some technical issues in the beginning. So if you had any issues and stuff like that, that was on our end. We apologize. My fault. If you did, from what you did hear, though, I hope, we did talk about the Bears. We talked about their situation, obviously kind of giving the recap on that whole thing. Again, guys, if you want to find us, we're also on X-Bomb Sports on Twitch and on YouTube, where you guys can catch us streaming at all times, like right now. You guys should be watching us right now. Subscribe, like us, comment, share the shows. We really appreciate you guys. Once again, letting you guys know, April 25th, Dave & Buster's, Rosemont, Illinois. Be there for our live show in person for the draft. We're going to be going 5-6 hours. God, need some coffee or something stronger. Be there for it, guys. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to have a good time. We're going to have a great crew working with us as well. So you guys are going to be able to be introduced to all of us, take some pictures, ask some questions. We're going to have some people floating out there in the back, like the lovely Ivory Castro back here as well. There's going to be floating around asking some questions for us. And our wonderful director who's going to be helping us direct this thing, Miss Antonia Vincenti as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, please be on the lookout for that again, April 25th. We're going to be starting at 6. We're definitely going to have to get there earlier. But the plan is for us to start at 6, where we're going for a very, very long time. So, please be with us on that. But we got more to talk about here, ladies and gentlemen. As far as sports goes, like I said, we just got done talking about the Bears. But now I want to get into the baseball situation for you, ladies and gentlemen. Because obviously, if you know, baseball has started, and I'm a big fan of baseball. I love baseball. I think it's a wonderful sport that can teach a lot of great things. And even though when I was a kid, I will fully admit, I I did sports because I was pushed into it by my parents, and I did not really like it, but now I like it as I've gotten older. I have a lot of fun taking my cousins there, and they throw popcorn and hot dogs at me. That actually did happen. But outside of that, of course, baseball has a bit of a scandal going on. If you don't know, the biggest, most popular athlete in the game right now is Shohei Ohtani. And I'm sure everybody knows this story by now, but Shohei Ohtani obviously found himself in a bit of hot fire, if you will, where he and his interpreter, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name because it's Japanese and I'm going to certainly butcher it. So we'll just say Ohtani's interpreter was fired a very recent, or not recently, but a while ago, basically because he was caught up in a gambling scandal that was costing about $4.5 million. Yeah, $4.5 million worth of gambling debts were paid by his interpreter. Now, this is somebody who's been with Ohtani since he first got in the league when he was about 25. So you're talking, or 23, I should say, apologies. But you're talking about somebody who's been around now for about 7 years, who has been a trusted friend, a loyal person in baseball, the guy who's been interpreting all the things that Ohtani's been talking about, been saying, and now we come to find out that he may have this giant gambling debt potentially in front of him. It certainly kind of surprised, I think, a lot of us when we heard this, and it certainly kind of took us all by surprise when we saw this come about. And one of the big things about this is obviously the massive number that comes from this, but it's the fact that this is the best player in baseball in the world, and maybe one of the best, if not maybe the best of all time. That's arguable, of course. That is potentially caught up in this giant scandal where his interpreter apparently may have been betting on baseball games, had this illegal bookie kind of thing. Like, it's a giant, like, shady situation where money was being exchanged between some guy that was apparently like in a hole in the wall or something like that. I don't know. But what really comes from this is that apparently, yes, as I put on there, it was an M. Night twist. I'm taking credit for that, by the way. I thought that was great. But what a twist. The money, the $4.5 million that was used to pay off the debt for the interpreter's gambling debts, apparently, came from Shohei Ohtani's account. So now this thing grows even farther, because now you're talking about not just the interpreter of the best player in baseball in the world right now. Now you're talking about a direct connection from the best player in baseball in the world paying off, or potentially not knowing that his money was being used to pay off these gambling debts. And that certainly causes a problem. Sorry, I'm allergic to people that BS. Because I think a lot of this could potentially be some bull hockey. Now, I'm going to say, I do always stress that I think people are innocent until proven guilty. There is an investigation going on with Major League Baseball, and we'll see what comes out of it. But there is a lot here that certainly says, like, well, as much as I want to believe the guy is innocent, there's certainly enough there that makes you want to believe, rumor-wise, circumstantially, speculative, that, yeah, Shohei Ohtani might be connected as the person that actually made these bets. Like, $4.5 million, that's a lot of money to lose, number one. I lose $100 at the casino, I sweat. Okay, I'm in a full, like, oh, man, am I gonna be able to pay for groceries? Like, I get in that mode. It's why I don't gamble anymore. But for this guy, this is a massive amount of money. A massive amount of money that you have to look at and you go, God, how do you let that be the case? Like, he did just get paid $700 million, but he's making only $10 million, I think it is, over these next few years. He gets the extra $690 million over the next 10 years, which I know for everybody that's listening, watching, and even in here, I'm sure you're going, well, if I could only have a fraction of that, I think we'd be all set for life. If only. But I am it's flabbergasting to see a story like this break out, because you would think, like, of all the sports, you would hope that baseball would have been done with this, but no, this seems to be a reoccurring theme. And this comes to my stressing point, because overall, I think we talk a lot about gambling and sports and all that stuff, not just pro sports, but sports as a whole. But particularly for this one, it's pro sports, because outside of the Ohtani situation, there is a basketball player by the name of Shohei Porter, who has been placed on what I guess would be called administrative leave of some sort. And Shohei Porter is being accused of gambling on his own what you call prop bets, which are bets that are particularly made for certain players. And he's an NBA player, so the idea is he bet on prop bets about himself, on points, rebounds, assists, blocks, things like that, in order to make sure that he made money off of himself, basically. Because while you may not be able to maintain the level of a game being played, you can certainly maintain your own play and what shots you hit, what shots you don't make, what rebounds you grab, what plays you don't make, right? And that becomes the issue with gambling versus sports, right? Professional sports as a whole. I mean, this is one of those situations where if you look at this whole thing, right? When we break this down, the gambling world and the sports world, I was told something very profound once when I had a meeting with somebody, when they told me, they said, Andrew, as long as there have been two people on this planet that have been willing to compete, and a type of currency that has existed, cows, chickens, coins, whatever, there's been gambling. Simple as that. Simple as that. And I thought, wow, for me, it was really profound, because that makes a lot of sense, right? Two guys end up saying, hey, I'll race you. For how much? 3 chicken eggs and a hunk of meat. That's gambling. It's a type of currency. It's an exchange, right? And that has been the problem, is that gambling has been around in sports for the longest time. It's just now it's so publicized because it's legalized that it is everywhere in this world. Like, I'll be completely honest. About a year ago, like, I was totally enveloped in gambling in sports, to the point where I lost a lot of money. Like, I won money, yes, and I've won a lot of big money at times myself, but I've lost a lot of money too. And I recognize, like, I'll fully admit it, like, I got an addictive personality. This is something I should not be doing, so I've backed off of gambling completely. Also because I have to keep every piece of pennies I can now. But, like, I came to that realization, and I realized that was just me, though. Not everybody can do that. There are some people who, they go to the casino, and how many people have heard this story, right? You hear the story of, well, how'd you do at the casino? Well, I was up 10 grand. Well, how'd you do? Well, where is it? Oh, I lost it all. I'm now down $5. $5? No, 5 grand. And you go, what the hell happened? You were up 10, you're now down 5? You went in with $400. Yeah, well, that's the way it goes. What do you mean that's the way it goes? But it's hard to process that, because not everybody can envelop that. Like, you go to a casino. Everybody, I believe, has been to a casino at some point now in your life. If you're over the age of 21, you've gambled, right? You ever notice why there's no clocks in casinos? They don't want you to know what time it is, because they don't want you to leave. The whole business model is you stay there, you pour your money in, and then when you win, what do they want you to do? Stay there and keep those winnings rolling. That's the business model. And I'm not saying it's a good one. It's a business. I understand. A lot of people don't like it. It has ruined families. It's ruined lives. I understand that completely. It is a business, and I understand people are going to make money off of it, and it does make jobs for people. It is very two ways on the street on this one, right? There's the good and the bad on this. And the problem is that nowadays you've got a lot of people who are certainly having this idea of wealth, right? You've seen the advertisements. I bet $10. I won $300 off of FanDuel, off of DraftKings. You see those advertisements. Or you see the advertisements from the people who are like, well, I bet $1,000 and on a 10-leg parlay, that's where you put a bunch of games together and you have a chance to win $1.5 million, and they post it on the internet, and you go, I could do that too. And then you end up gambling away way more money than you should. And this is kind of where I want this to drive to. Like, yes, Shohei Ohtani bet on ball games, and whatever happens with him next is going to be in baseball's court. Because at the end of the day, if he bet on baseball games and he bet on games that he played in, Commissioner Rob Manfred, who is the commissioner of baseball, who's retiring in 2029, he's going to have to make a decision on what to do with Ohtani because he's made it known. The 1919 White Sox who bet on ball games and were banned, and Pete Rose who bet on ball games and was banned, they are staying out because that's what the rules determined at the time. Well, if that happens with Shohei, do you lock up your best player, who is the most marketable player you've ever had for the game of baseball around the world? Do you tell that player you can no longer play in baseball for the rest of your life? He makes you money. He has helped your viewership. Do you tell that guy no? That's a hard one to sell. But ultimately, it all comes back to, in my mind, the bigger argument on this thing, which is gambling in sports the right thing? Because I'll tell you right now, college sports are trying to ban prop bets to stop players from gambling on themselves and fixing games. Because that's something that all of us don't want to find out is, it's all rigged. It's all a setup. It's all fake. It's all phony. That's the fear, right? Sports is supposed to be this pure thing, this indelible thing, this thing that we can trust in to escape the reality of what might be the fixed points of life or whatever. I don't know, whatever you believe, right? And now all of a sudden, instead, we're going to learn like, it's scripted. It's all predetermined or something like that, right? It's not going to be the way that we thought it was going to be because everybody's trying to get their hunk of change. It's sad. It's sad, and it's sad that, unfortunately, this continues to envelop a lot of people, too, where they are pouring in hundreds of millions to billions of dollars. I mean, billions of dollars into trying to strike rich, right? I mean, you can't win the lottery if you don't play. But, I mean, at some point, you keep playing the lottery, add up the money that you've been spending on trying to win the lottery, right? How much have you lost? Because I'll tell you right now, my hunk of change that I've lost on the lottery at this point, it stretches well into over $500. And that's over the time I've been spending on trying to win the lottery. Like, I haven't done it every week or whatever, but I have certainly tried to play that card quite a bit. And what's the chances? Like, what, 1 in a billion or something like that? 100 million? It's a crazy number like that you win the Mega Millions or something. That'd be nice. Of course, we'd all love it. But what's the reality of being able to actually win that number and have that money? It's a tough decision, I know, for a lot of people. It's not an easy situation. It's not something that comes lightly. It's not something that even people want to talk about. It's not. It really is not. But it's also a reality of the life we live in. Gambling is a part of our livelihood. Gambling is a part of our situation, and we have to kind of accept it for what it is. It's sad. It's sad, but the fear is that we are stepping into a world where, as much as I want to see guys make money off of NIL and everything, and I respect that, I want college guys to be able to get their just dues from a billion-dollar company like the NCAA and college sports and all of that. I do want to also make sure that the game keeps some level of purity, one in which where the players are not gambling on themselves, because I think that can lead to really serious implications and problems, not just with the game itself, but also with these players where they may find themselves running into addictions where you're spending absurd amounts of money that you may be able to get in the pros. But now you have not. How many horror stories do we have to hear where a guy says, I made $100 million in my lifetime, in my career. I played 10 years of baseball, 10 years of football. I made so much money. Well, how much do you have? I got nothing. I got nothing in the bank. It's food for thought for everybody out there. I'm only using the Ohtani thing to kind of stress that this is a big situation that I think needs to certainly be addressed in some sort of regard when it comes to talking about professional sports and gambling. And also to kind of be like a little bit of a PSA, right? Like, please gamble responsibly. Please call these hotlines to go get help if you think you have a problem, because there's a lot of people out there that I think don't realize like they have a problem, they have an issue. It's important to recognize this stuff. Because from baseball to basketball to football to hockey to soccer to Indonesian horse racing, like you can go all over the world and bet on anything pretty much. And that's kind of the scary point, is that everything can now come with a price to be bet on. Obviously, let us know your thoughts about all this stuff for baseball. What do you think about the Shohei Ohtani situation? Do you think he did it? Should he be banned? If he didn't do it, what do you think the suspension should be? Should there be a suspension? What do you think the situation is with sports gambling? Do you think that this is going to be a pressing matter that changes the way that gambling and sports as a whole, college, pro, all that stuff, kind of collides with each other? Do you think there's going to have to be some changes? Obviously, comment below. Let us know what you guys think on the YouTube side, on the Twitch side. We want to hear from you guys. When we do come back, we're going to answer some quick questions for you guys, and then we're going to get out of here because I'm sure some people are pretty tired, and I'm tired myself. So we'll be right back here to talk and answer your questions right here on the X-Bomb Sports Live Show.
The Chicagoland area has a large number of lonely dogs currently filling shelter pens, just waiting to find a family. Nothing adds warmth to a home like a wagging tail and a warm pair of brown eyes. If you are considering adding a dog to your household, visit the Anderson Animal Shelter, where adoption counselors can assist you in selecting your new best friend. Make your house a home. Adopt a shelter dog. To see a current list of adoptees, visit their website at www.andersonanimalshelter.org or meet them in person at 1000 South LaFox Street in South Elgin. Don't have room in the home for a new furry family member? Donations of toys, collars, and soft or hard non-perishable dog food are always accepted and are greatly appreciated. All animals are spayed or neutered and are waiting with tails wagging to find a loving home. Visit 1000 South LaFox Street in South Elgin or www.andersonanimalshelter.org for more details.
Hey, watch your mouth. Why? I'll just put a quarter in the swear jar. Once it's filled, we get a Coors party after work. I've been drinking Coors since my college days. Cold draft taste, second to none. Yeah, worth the recorder, am I right? You know it, mother.
Hey, you get those reports done?
Yeah. No. You, sir. Attention, employees.
The staff meeting, scheduled for this evening, will now be held tomorrow early as
That is all. Dudes, we're only 75 cents short. Oh, shh. Where's the boss? Hey, sir, go yourself. You're fired!
Oh boy. Hey, welcome back everybody here to the X-Bomb Sports Live Show. I'm still Andrew Valentine. I'm still here with some amazing people, Ivory and Antonia, and thank you guys again for helping out support-wise and, of course, running the whole show. Appreciate it. We just got done talking about the Shohei Ohtani situation. We got done talking about the Bears. We covered all that sports stuff. And now we're going to talk real quick. We're going to do some quick fan questions. We're going to answer this stuff, and then we're going to get out of here and have some enjoy the time that we have for the day, because it's Monday and we should be enjoying ourselves instead of, working that 9 to 5. But again, ladies and gentlemen, we always want to say thank you guys so much for the questions. We do appreciate it. If you guys have any questions or comments or things like that, I don't care what they are at this point. You want to send them to us, please make sure to send them to us at xbsportsofficial@gmail.com. We want to hear from you guys as always. We do appreciate it again, guys. Thank you so much for all the questions and the comments and stuff. Some of you guys asked some strange stuff, like how do fish sleep at night during the winter. I love you guys, but damn, like, man. For those that don't know, by the way, Scotty had the answer to that, by the way. Don't you worry. Because Scotty's got the brain of useless knowledge, apparently, if we need it. So if you have any questions, we may just have a segment for Scotty to just answer useless questions. Who knows? Because apparently Scotty does know. I thought he didn't know, but Scotty does. But yes, anyways, guys, please, again, send your questions and comments, xbsportsofficial@gmail.com. We want to hear from you guys, as always. Thank you so much. So our first question, this comes from Mike. Mike is in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Mike asked us a question. He said, now I've been watching college basketball now for a while, and obviously the NCAA tournament's going on, and I just had a question on whether or not you think that college basketball is starting to turn more towards veteran players, juniors and seniors being the better teams, or if one and dones still can get it done in the NCAA tournament. What are your thoughts? Well, here's my thought, Mike, and plain and simple. I think the NCAA tournament is being dominated by the older veterans because they've been around longer, because they have more experience, and that's starting to show, right? You get more opportunities to be a part of the NCAA tournament. You get more opportunities to play in big basketball games. You're going to be more prepared and more ready to be able to play in those big games against these bigger teams. Regardless if that team has a bunch of one-and-dones and a bunch of freshmen on it, you're going to be able to beat those teams easily because you have more experience than they do. But I don't think it's just that. I think it's also, coaching as well, right? You have a more experienced coach. You have a guy that's been there before. I think that can certainly make the difference as well. And I get it. I know where this question is coming from, right? Because if you don't know, John Calipari and the Kentucky Wildcats, they lost in the first round to Duquesne University, which is somewhere Iowa, Midwest, middle of nowhere. I don't know. It's somewhere out there in the cornfields. But you don't expect a blue blood, pristine premier program like Kentucky to lose to a school like Duquesne, right? You just don't expect that. But here we are. We see it happen, and I think it surprised a lot of people when you ask, well, why is that? Kentucky has a lot of good players, and they have some veteran players on their team as well. But I think what ends up hurting Kentucky more than anything is that their best players always seem to leave after 1 year because these are high school kids that realize I have a lot of talent, I have an opportunity to make a lot of money, therefore I'm leaving. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It doesn't necessarily help college basketball, but it does in fact, it does in fact help the college basketball teams because the recruiting helps these guys understand that, oh, I can go to that school, I can get recruited at a high ranking, and now I can also go to the NBA. Also, by the way, I can make a lot of money off of NIL. Again, name, image, and likeness for those that don't know. Like, yeah, I don't blame those guys. But it's a sad point when, yes, obviously these top stars are not being able to be in the NCAA tournament. They're not performing maybe at their best, or some of them aren't even playing because they know they're going to be college stars. They're going to be pros soon, right? So I do think that veteran teams are better in college basketball than the one-and-done teams, the guys that take on a lot of younger players and freshmen, but you have to play the game the way it's played, right? If you're getting the five-star freshman recruits and they're the best players in the country, which is what you want, but they're leaving after a year because they have these great numbers and these great games and they realize they're going to be top draft picks, you can't blame a kid for wanting to leave. You can't blame him for wanting to leave. Yes, it may hurt college basketball in some sort of necessity, but at the same time, you know, the rules allow these guys to be able to leave after 1 year. I mean, would anybody turn down the opportunity at 19 years old to leave school to go make millions of dollars at a job that you enjoy doing, by the way? I don't think anybody would turn that down. I wouldn't. My dad would hit the hell out of me if I did. He would be so mad at me. My mom would probably kick me. My mom never hurts me. So I'm being honest. Like there's no way my parents would let me pass that up at 19 years old. So I can't blame those guys by any means. But at the same time, I understand where people are coming from where it's like, this is kind of hurting the game. Yeah, of course it's kind of hurting the game. But this is the world that we're now living in where this is going to be the regular thing happening on a regular basis more and more. So be prepared for it. Be prepared for these smaller schools that have veteran players, that the juniors and seniors, to be the ones that ultimately are starting to win the national championships. But let's not be coy about this, ladies and gentlemen. Right now for the NCAA tournament, you can't tell me this is not an exciting matchup we have going into the Final Four. There are some of the best teams in the country playing each other, followed by one team that is a dream scenario that none of us thought was possible because they were a bottom of the tier 11 seed in the tournament that has made it. And I'm just going to put this out there because if they win the national championship, I make a lot of money. I know I just said this thing about gambling, I know, but I only bet $20 on them. But if they win, I can make 4 figures off of them. I'm just putting that out there because I want the universe to grant me this one. I really need that money, universe. I got bills and stuff I got to pay. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Ivory. Yes, bring it on. I need to pay my bills. I have other bills I have to pay. Help me. Come on. Give me this one, and then, like, you can have a bird poop on me or something. Yeah, something. Like, I'll give you one if you give me this. Like, please. Just, like not like a car crash or anything. I'm begging you, please. I don't need that anymore. All right. Thank you, Mike, for the question. I do appreciate it. Our next question, the last question I want to answer, this comes from Jason. Jason asked us a question about Mr. Deion Sanders, and he said, do you think Deion Sanders will be effective after his sons are done playing college football? And I believe his son Shiloh, I think, is done playing at Colorado. I think Shadir, his younger son, the middle son, if I'm not mistaken, I think he's going to be playing still at Colorado. They both still might be. I can't remember off the top of my head. But, okay, so is Deion Sanders going to still be an effective coach after his sons leave? I do think so. I absolutely do think so. I think he is actually a great coach for college football. I think he's a great coach for the game. I think he's charismatic, and I think he's been great for Colorado. I do think, though, you see that the magic maybe is not there necessarily as it should be right now with Colorado. Next year, it could be a different story. It's hard, though, because it does feel like nepotism, right? It kind of does. It's your son's the star quarterback. He's potentially this first-round draft pick, right? You're the coach. A lot of people, I think, are looking at this kind of going, ooh, playing favorites, aren't we? Well, he is the best quarterback on that team. I'm not going to take anything away from him. But there's certainly this level of looking at it saying, yeah, he gets favorable looks, I would say. Like, there was a story that was out there not too long ago that Deion had allowed his sons to skip, I believe it was a practice, for them to be in a fashion show. Right? Now, he said, I wouldn't want any player to pass up that opportunity. And hey, that's cool. Like, if I had the chance to do it, I would do it too. I would love to do it. I don't think the school I went to would necessarily allow me to do that because it was very heavy on the Christian side, and I needed to be in church all the time, apparently. That's why I'm no longer at that school. Also, it doesn't exist anymore. So, at the same time, though, like, I do think he can be effective. I think it's just going to be a difficult process, though, because you're always going to be viewed as the dad as well as the coach. Like, that's always going to be the mix of like their battle as far as how you view them, right? You want to view them as a head coach. You want to view them as being successful and all that stuff. But at the same time, I don't necessarily know if you're going to be able to separate the two all the time, right? That's the difficult process about this. How do you break away from both? How do you find a way? How do you find a way to be able to make that situation happen? That's the problem, right? Separating coach from father. Because when they leave, I do think he can still be a good coach. But you can't control the players maybe in the same way you can your sons. I mean, he had a top quarterback recruit, Anthony Hill, that was committed to the guy. And then he decommits from Colorado. And now it's kind of like, well, Colorado's kind of without a quarterback. I mean, they got some guys that transferred in. but they don't necessarily have a guy that like committed to their school that they can hone and craft and grow and get ready for the future. That's kind of the difficulty. And that's just at the quarterback situation. So to answer your question, I do think Deion's going to be an effective coach. I do think he can be a guy that can be successful without his sons being there. But that is going to also be the biggest proving point is, well, they're not there. You knew they were talented. Now can you do it without them being there? Now can you continue to prove to us that you are a successful coach? I think he will. I don't know if he's going to win a national championship by any means, but I think you can at least at some point say he's going to be a winning coach in college football. So I understand. I want to say thank you again for the question. Appreciate it. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions or comments or things like that, you want to hear from us, please make sure xbsportsofficial@gmail.com, or if you want to as well, you can also hit us up in the Twitch and the YouTube side as well too. We want to hear from you guys on that stuff also. So if you have any questions or comments or things like that, hit us up on youtube.com/xbombsports or twitch.tv/xbombsports as well. We're streaming now, again, every Monday, 10 a.m. is the aim goal. So please ask us again any questions, comments, things like that. But that is going to do it for this show here, ladies and gentlemen. I want to say thank you to you guys again for listening and watching as always. I know this is an early one, so again, I do appreciate it. I know this is changing of the times yet again for us. I apologize, but I just want to say thank you to you guys for sticking with us. Thank you to you guys for being great fans. We do appreciate it. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys so much. As I appreciate the people who are with us as well, aka Antonia, thank you so much. Thank you. It is awesome that you were able to help us here. There was a few others that were supposed to help us here as well, but they couldn't be here for it, which is okay. It's all right. It's fine. I'm not mad at you guys. I'm not mad. Disappointed? No, I'm not. I love you guys. I appreciate it. I appreciate everything you guys do for me, and I hope I can continue to help you guys in any way that I can as well. So thank you. If you guys want to check us out anymore, again, the YouTube, the Twitch, as I just announced as well, so be sure to look out for that. I want to promote you guys' show as well. I want to be able to make sure. Tony Smallzik's Big J. You guys should go check it out on Twitch. It's a great show. It's an awesome show. I have a lot of fun with it. I help run the show. I help direct it. If you guys, we didn't get a chance to go last Friday because we had some technical issues that were out of our control, unfortunately, but I highly recommend you go watch the last episode. If you want to see somebody hiding behind their hands, jumping out of their chair, I don't mean to put you on the spot. I'm just saying that was a very fun episode for me to watch. I have never seen somebody as terrified as you were in that situation. And as I will warn you all, as I will warn her once again, it's just starting. Like, we're just getting into the meat of this thing, so be prepared for more. If you have a weak heart, I would not recommend you watch, please. But if you want to see some people get some scared, it's Tony Smallzik's Big J on YouTube and on Twitch as well. Friday, early morning, 10 o'clock a.m. as well. So be on the lookout for that, ladies and gentlemen. Also, too, if you want to follow me anymore, I'm at The Fluffy Guru on Twitter. I'm also at Boom Crew Captain on Instagram as well, where you guys can see me post stupid rants on Twitter and dumb pics on Instagram mostly about the food that I'm making. I don't know why I'm in this mode of like I'm cooking a lot. I'm just trying to help out, but my diet is killing me. But if you guys want to follow me anymore there, again, it's The Fluffy Guru on Twitter and Boom Crew Captain on Instagram. If you want to follow us anymore, though, for the show, outside of the YouTube and the Twitch, we also are on Instagram and Twitter as well, both at XBomb Sports. So if you guys want to follow us on all our social medias, please make sure to go to those at XBomb Sports on Twitter, on Instagram, where you're going to see more posts coming, more promotions coming, because let us not forget here, ladies and gentlemen, we have April 25th. I cannot do this enough. I will do it as much as I can until I'm blue in the face and I can't breathe anymore. April 25th, Rosemont, Illinois, Dave & Buster's. 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time. We're streaming live. We'll be live in Dave & Buster's doing our draft show the night of the draft. So please, if you can, join us in person. Watch with us on Twitch and YouTube. Ask us questions, comment. We want to hear from you guys. Please ask us questions too ahead of time. We may do the mailbag situation as well for you guys too, because we got like 5 hours to fill. So I'm going to be caffeinated along with inebriated. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to be inebriated. I'm going to need a lot of caffeine though. But just please come out, hang out with us, join us, be a part of the stream. We would really appreciate you guys being a part of it. We love you guys. Thank you all so much, because this could not happen without you, as it could not happen without the amazing crew that we have. I know not everybody's here, but I just want to say to everybody that's here and unfortunately not here, thank you guys again for being able to make this possible too. We really appreciate it. Like I said, we've got some guests lined up. We've got some old school people coming back to be a part of the show as well. So be on the lookout for that, ladies and gentlemen. We're really intrigued, interested, and excited to be able to bring this to you. I'm pumped. We got less than a month. We got a lot of work to do, but be on the lookout for that again. April 25th, 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time, live, Dave & Buster's, Rosemont. Can't stress it enough. And I think with that, we've covered everything, and I think that's going to be the end of our show. So thank you all so much for listening. Thank you all so much for watching. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, much love. Peace out, Boom Crew.